What is the true depth of Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor's strategic brilliance during the rebellion's resolution? Well, what appears to be a simple negotiation between old rulai and Imperial Preceptor is actually a multi-layered chess game where every word carries hidden meaning that most readers completely overlook. Hidden beneath the obvious moments are subtle manipulations and strategic moves that reveal why Imperial Preceptor is called a genius that appears once every 500 years. Let's uncover what you might have missed in the upcoming Tales of Herding Gods. Subscribe if you've new here, and without delay, let's start with number 10. The medicinal dregs deduction was a weaponized intelligence trap. Spiritual master Donghua analyzed medicinal dregs from Qinmu's treatments and deduced that Imperial Preceptor was severely injured. Everyone believed this intelligence, making it the foundation for their entire strategy, choosing the martial way to strike, while he was vulnerable. But here's what you missed. Imperial Preceptor absolutely knew they would analyze those dregs. He had Qinmu treating him publicly at Imperial College, disposing of herbs everywhere. For a man who orchestrates schemes months in advance, do you really think he'd accidentally leave medicinal evidence lying around? The genius is in the layering. The dregs showed real injuries because Imperial Preceptor was actually injured. But what rebels couldn't deduce was severity, recovery time, or whether those injuries would actually hinder combat ability. Spiritual Master Donghua deduction was technically correct, but it led to a catastrophically wrong conclusion. This is intelligence warfare at its finest. Give enemies real information, let them draw their own conclusions, and watch as their brilliant minds become the weapon you use against them. Number 9. Imperial Preceptor's real injuries served triple purpose. Imperial Preceptor was genuinely injured. Over 100 wounds, internal damage, venomous insects, injuries penetrating his divine treasures. So, was he faking or not? Here's the brilliance. He weaponized those real injuries in 3 ways. First, the injuries provided authentic evidence for enemy intelligence. The medicinal dregs, the perfume-covering wound stench, the shortened lectures, all real consequence that made deception undetectable. Second, by showing vulnerability strategically, he forced enemies to commit. His injuries created false urgency, strike now or lose the chance forever. Third, his willingness to fight despite genuine injuries demonstrated something terrifying. Even wounded, he remained utterly dominant. They ambushed him with 3 god-level existences, severely injured him, and he still crushed the entire rebellion while recovering. The message is clear. Injury or health, it doesn't matter. He's simply operating on a different level. Number 8. Old Rulai's Believe Fool was a devastating teaching moment. On Mount Meru, old Rulai says something cryptic. Believe fool. The bodhisattvas assume it's deep philosophy, but look at who he's actually addressing. Teacher poor, wanderer Li, true Lord Tian. The people who just lost everything because they believed Imperial Preceptor was vulnerable. This isn't abstract philosophy, it's a devastating lesson delivered with Buddhist restraint. These legendary figures were defeated not by superior martial arts, but because they believed what they wanted to believe. They saw injured Imperial Preceptor, analyzed evidence, convinced themselves they had an opportunity, and walked into a trap. Old Rulai is telling anyone wise enough to listen. Belief without verification is foolishness, and foolishness against a genius like Imperial Preceptor is fatal. Those who believed he was truly weakened are now dead or defeated. Number 7. Duke Wei's temptation revealed the real political trap. Duke Wei suggests Imperial Preceptor should just be the emperor. An Imperial Preceptor reacts with genuine murderousness. Why such extreme reaction to a trusted ally's comment? Because Duke Wei clarifies, this isn't my idea. This is what the old brothers following you think. He's not tempting rebellion. He's warning about a dangerous undercurrent. This reveals the hidden political trap. Imperial Preceptor has reached maximum official position. Any further reward creates impossible optics. And Duke Wei confirms it. The Empress Dowager isn't worried about you. She's worried about those people under you. The real threat isn't Imperial Preceptor's ambition, but his followers' ambitions on his behalf. They want promotions, and the only way up is to elevate their leader to emperor. This is the hidden danger of competent loyalty. His very success creates pressure for rebellion he doesn't want. Number 6. The bronze-masked man's suicide was forced through positioning. Imperial Preceptor points at the bronze-masked man and says flatly, "He must stay." Old Rulai doesn't even try to negotiate. Teacher Poor and the others abandon him with apologies. Here's what this reveals. Everyone immediately understood that if the man left with them, Imperial Preceptor would pursue. Old Rulai wasn't willing to risk war over one person. The rebels wouldn't die protecting him. So the man had two options: be captured alive and paraded to the capital, destroying the emperor's prestige and triggering civil war, or die immediately with identity hidden. Imperial Preceptor created this forced choice through pure positional pressure. No threats, no violence, just an unshakable statement. The man chose death because Imperial Preceptor's positioning made it the only rational choice. Number 5. Imperial Preceptor wanted the suicide and ensured it happened. But here's the darker layer. Imperial Preceptor stood motionless, deliberately not intercepting. Qin Yao Mu observes, "For Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor to say that sentence was to force the bronze-masked man to suicide. Why? Because taking the man alive, revealing 8 Imperial uncle as a rebel, created catastrophic political problems. The Emperor would face an impossible choice: execute family publicly or show weakness by pardoning treason. Either choice destroys Imperial prestige and fractures the court. And the most chilling detail, if the man didn't disfigure himself, Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor would have helped him do so. He was prepared to mutilate the corpse if necessary to protect the identity. This reveals his true priority: not personal glory, but empire stability. He'll force a royal family member to suicide to protect the throne, then ensure that suicide serves its purpose. That's ruthless pragmatism at the highest level. Number 4. Old Rulai was never mediating. He was recruiting. Most readers see Old Rulai's intervention as benevolent, mediation. But notice what he actually accomplishes. He recruits every surviving rebel mastermind into Great Thunderclap Monastery, massively strengthening Buddhism. Teacher Poor, Wanderer Li, True Lord Tian, Spiritual Master Dao Quan, Beggar Sect, Master Chidayu, all peak existences, all now pledged to Buddhism. Their sects lose strongest leaders, rebel factions lose masterminds, and Great Thunderclap Monastery gains legendary figures. Old Rulai phrases it as creating good karma, but he's exploiting a crisis for maximum recruitment. These desperate people face death or conversion. And he leverages Imperial Preceptor's old debt. Imperial Preceptor once studied at Great Thunderclap Monastery. To make it happen, the benevolent mediation is actually a calculated power play disguised as mercy. Number 3, the senior brother greeting was a power declaration. When Old Rulai stops Mount Meru and says senior brother to Qin Mu, most see polite acknowledgement. But notice what's actually happening. Old Rulai is publicly revealing Qin Mu's identity as Heavenly Devil Cult Master to everyone present, breaking his cover completely. Why? Because Old Rulai is declaring Qin Mu is now a legitimate target for future recruitment. Shuebiye protests about the danger of exposure, but Qin Mu responds wisely. As the sacred cult master, I can't not return the greeting after he greeted me as an equal. Here's the brilliance. By returning the greeting, Qin Mu accepts equal standing with Old Rulai publicly. He's announcing that Heavenly Devil Cult now operates at the same level as Great Thunderclap Monastery. This exchange, which seems like courtesy, is actually a public declaration of status and power balance. Number 2, Right Guardian's taunting. Established strategic positioning. Right Guardian, Shuebiye shouting insults at the monks seems like simple devil cult rowdiness. But notice the timing. This pointless confrontation creates the perfect cover for Old Rulai's senior brother revelation. The taunting publicly establishes that Heavenly Devil Cult and Great Thunderclap Monastery have a complex relationship beyond simple enmity. Old rulai acknowledging Qinmu as equal tells everyone watching that power dynamics are shifting. Heavenly Devil Cult isn't just some minor devil sect anymore. Their cult master commands enough respect that even old rulai treats him as equal. The taunting makes this revelation seem spontaneous rather than calculated. Number 1. Imperial Preceptor's ultimate goal was never personal power. And finally, the revelation that ties everything together. Imperial Preceptor doesn't want the throne. He has the perfect opportunity to seize power, but refuses with genuine anger. He's pursuing the 3 immortal deeds. He wants to become a saint by establishing moral authority, creating lasting achievements, and contributing philosophical wisdom. The throne is a distraction from this higher goal. He needs Eternal Peace Empire as a platform to execute his vision, not as property to rule. This explains everything. He forced the bronze-masked man to suicide to protect the Emperor's dignity. He allowed old rulai to recruit rebels instead of killing them all. He deliberately didn't pursue total victory because that would threaten the Emperor and create instability. Everything serves one purpose: creating a stable empire where his reforms can flourish and his vision can be realized. While others fight for survival or authority, he's constructing a civilization. So there you have it. The genius is that everything operates on multiple levels simultaneously. What seems like defeat is calculated sacrifice. What looks like mercy is strategic recruitment. What appears to be weakness is weaponized vulnerability. Which hidden detail surprised you most? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember, in Tales of Hurting Gods, nothing is ever as simple as it appears.